My brothers and sisters, welcome to episode number 53 in the book of Genesis. Today we're going to talk about a people that deliberately overlook the lessons of the flood, the deluge. So today's title is Deliberately Overlooking the Flood. Now we're going to go to a New Testament passage that looks back to the Old Testament and comments on it. So we're going to go to 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. Now, 2 Peter was written about 2,000 years ago, and it's going to refer to an event that happened thousands of years before that, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 years, which was the flood. And they're going to warn that in the future, so now from the time of Peter, that in the future, people are going to deliberately deny the events of the flood. And why is that? There's a theology that if you trash the flood, you trash the whole theology. So here it is. This is from 2 Peter chapter 3. Read with me. Get your Bibles out. Now, this is the second letter that I am writing to you, beloved. In both of them, I'm stirring up your sincere mind by way of reminder. So Peter's reminding them of some stuff. One of the things he's going to remind them of is don't forget the flood. That you should remember the predictions of the holy prophets and the commandments of the Lord and Savior through your apostles. Knowing this, first of all, that scoffers will come in the last days with scoffing, following their sinful desires. They will say, now this is what the scoffers are going to say, where's the promise of his coming? So Peter's warning his people that scoffers are coming. They're going to follow their sinful desires, and they're going to deny the future promises of God. Now, how do they get to that theological point? Well, they're going to deny the past. They're going to use as a rationale for denying the future promises of God, specifically by denying the past. And here, just wait for it in a second, he's going to say, specifically, they're going to deny the flood. Watch here. For ever since the fathers fell asleep, all things are continuing as they were from the beginning of creation. In other words, they're saying, hey, everything's the same. There was never an event like the flood, the deluge, that Noah specifically mentions in the 600th year of his life, in the second month, on the 17th day, when all this happened. They're saying they're going to deliberately overlook that. So here it is, verse 5. For they deliberately overlook this fact. So the scoffers are going to deliberately overlook the past, that the heavens existed long ago, that the earth was formed out of water by the word. Because if you do that, then you can deny that there's a former, and you can deny the form, a creator, that I just might owe allegiance. And then here's the thing, and that by means of these, the world that then existed was deluged with water and perished. So here, these scoffers are saying there was no flood, so I can do what I want. So they're deliberately forgetting creation, the promises, the history, the creator. And specifically here, 2 Peter 3 says that people in the future are going to be denying the flood, the water, the perishing, the judgment. So they are going to, as it says, not making this up, they're going to deliberately overlook it. And now right here, what that means is I see it, but I'm going to deny that it exists. I don't know if you ever played hide and seek with a 3-year-old, but there's a lot of that goes on, that where you see something, the kid behind the curtain, but you choose not to see it. I know it's true, but I'm acting as if it doesn't. So the lesson today is do not forget the flood. God made a way of rescue and Noah's life, sinful people can still live before him, please him, be righteous, be faithful, be blameless in our generations. We can still walk with God. So there's the encouragement of Noah himself and the righteous person. And then these facts, he says in the passage in 2 Peter, these are facts. Creation happened. The earth was formed out of water. No wonder that NASA is always looking for water on Mars and in the moon. Why? Because we learned here from the Bible that water is part and parcel of creation and of life. It's also part of the flood and the deluge. So back in Genesis, we learned that the flood prevails. It's everywhere. It's major. It's a worldwide extinction event. It's a perishing of people and animals and plants. So the warning is that scoffers are coming, and don't be one of these people. Don't deliberately overlook the flood. People are going to follow their sinful desires. And how are they going to justify this? By denying the promises of God and saying every day is just like the other day. There's no flood. So they deny the past so they can deny the future. They're saying the flood never came. This epic day, it never happened. They're denying the judgment came, that there was an epic, universal, and fearful, destructive, life-taking judgment. Why? Because they don't want the judgment in the future. And they're denying the future judgment that's not coming with water, but the one that's coming with fire. So again, if there's going to be a judgment, it's going to be universal, inescapable. All right, so a couple things. Don't deliberately overlook the flood. Watch out for this. Watch out for people who are deliberately overlooking the flood. And this whole scenario points to the accuracy of the God who made the flood, the accuracy of his prophecies. This is kind of a prophecy, I guess, and the accuracies of the events themselves. So don't overlook the flood, but we deliberately look for those who are deliberately overlooking the flood. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. So we're not overlooking the flood. We're giving our attention to it. We're believing it. We're not denying it. Because if you do deny it, here's what happens to you. Just for a couple things, you get sloppy on judgment if you deny the flood. You get sloppy on that there's a creator and a creation, and he's in charge. You get sloppy on the rescue and the expense of the rescue. And in that sense, you get sloppy on the righteous rescue that's coming in Jesus. So the people that are specifically denying the past as to deny the future, we are not going to be in that group. So let us not deliberately overlook, but instead let us deliberately look to the flood and its lessons. We're going to get back to the flood tomorrow. Thanks for listening.